peoples. It's Carla Holland Strange, and it's 11:52 p.m. I know it's late, but this has been on my mind so much. And it's 9/12, September 12th, 2012. Nearly the 13th in a few minutes. What I want to talk about, I know that I haven't talked about Rick in a long time, and it has been to try to heal. But I haven't been online for the last 5 days because I have done nothing but cry. You see what happened after everything? They gave Rick 2 years in prison. I feel sometimes that we were so used and abused in the process, because the night he actually did something wrong was in December of 2010, and December 21st actually. How about that? The 21st. But when he acted out in April, we had just gotten that house and the apartment. The apartment was in my name, but the electric was in Rick's name. He'd been living there, and we'd been doing good. That night, he never laid hands on me, and he threw a flower pot, at the window and everything. And I think that the reason they really pushed so hard at pushing his everything together was because they called in SWAT teams. They called in SWAT teams there in Travis County to hunt him down. And I was so out of it. Like I said, this was during the period of time that I think we were both drugged that day, because I had been working all day. I did not even have time for wine, so I wasn't drunk. Rick had been sitting on the back porch reading, and all of a sudden the flip out came about. But he'd been over across at my roommate that I do not trust. He'd been over there. Both times that he had flipped out, he'd been near other people and not at home. But he wasn't gone long enough to get drunk. But either way, I guess Travis County was so embarrassed by what they did. I mean, there wasn't a bruise on me. He had thrown a flower pot at the patio glass window. That's it. That I think that they pushed it through. Now, they held it over my head that they were going, and I was scared. God, I was so scared, because they kept telling me he was going to get 20 years. And I was already going through so much hell with Maura. And I could not bear the thought of him getting 20 years. And they told me that they were going to get him for burglary of a habitation, even though they knew that the electric bill was in his name and that he'd been living there, unless I pressed through with the domestic violence. Now, if that domestic violence was so important, why did they just slap his hand when he was guilty of something? Because that's how they do it. They use these things to dangle in case they screw up. But anyway, they put him through all this crap, the rehab, it's brainwashing is what it is. What government entity would almost deny his parole if he wrote me a letter to keep the family separate? Isn't that what the demons in the end times want, is to keep families separate? You're supposed to give counseling. not scare someone and tell them they'll never be free if they talk to the one person in their world that loves them and will make sure that they have a home and a roof. But they pushed him out on the streets. They gave him probation first, and they told him he could not come live back with me. How crazy is that? They wanted him out on the streets where they knew that he would mess up, where they knew that he would be struggling, because Rick was born with a silver spoon. He didn't know how to actually get on his feet that way, because he was used to be, when he was either rich or homeless. That's how he survived. And when you're living out there on the streets, it's easy to go out there and get drunk. It numbs that pain if you're drunk, right? But again, the government took our power out of our hands with me telling them over and over and over that it was not a burglary of a habitation, because I still have the electric bills, by the way. I keep originals of everything. Get this shit. Now, if I was a victim of domestic violence, TXU would not have charged me a $300 deposit, right? Did you know? I'm guilty. I said, well, you know what? They convicted him of it, and I don't have $300, and I have no electricity, so we're going to go with it. Did you know Travis County told them that I was not a victim of violent crimes, yet they put my husband in prison for it? Yes, they did. Since he's been gone, I have not been able to talk to him, because he's so terrified that he will not be released if he talks to me. When I know he's safe, I'm going whole hog with ACLU. Because we have been robbed over and over and over. Just like the Judge Herb Evans there in Austin. How dare he, with all that paperwork, how dare he evict me from a home that my name was on the title work? How dare he? He's a judge, so he could get by with it. I got arrested in Georgetown, Texas, for driving on an invalid license. Yes, I got arrested for a ticket. But what I realized, that I would rather live in... Oh, and by the way, I do have a warrant, so if any of these people that have it out for me, because I couldn't pay the ticket, I've been broke solid because of all this crap that I've gone through. But I called them, and I told them. But what I was about to say is that what I've realized, and I always liked Austin so much because it was so liberal and da-da-da-da-da. I'd rather live in a place that has standards. They don't fix things. They're pissy as hell, and the only thing I can say wrong about Georgetown was that I don't believe that a woman should have to drink out of the toilet or go 16 ounces of fluid in a 24-hour day is all we got. The little tiny cups with our meals. And they kept me in 3 days. 3 days for that driving with invalid license, in which I didn't even know I had because Sugar Daddy Tom had canceled my insurance and I did not know it. As a society, we should be enraged by what we allow governments to do to us. Governing bodies just, especially police officers. Now, I never, ever want to be afraid of a police officer. That protect and serve, I really believe that it's true. We have a couple of really good cops here in Marlin. We have a lot of bad cops here in Marlin. The reason I like it here is because I can walk down the street and I know everybody and they know me. There is corruption here. There is corruption in every town. Falls County has a horrendous little old I guess history. I just wish that Rick could get back the last 2 years of his life without me feeling so guilty about how it happened. Because I would never, ever, ever harm him. And yes, he did harm me twice. But he was out over a long period of time where he could have been angry and come and hurt me. But he didn't. In fact, the few times I got to see him while he was out, it was amazing. And no, we weren't like a couple. I wish we were. He is my other half. He knows it too. But he would sit with me when I was just totally just devastated. When he turned himself into, when they revoked him for being homeless. Yes, for being homeless, they revoked him when he had a home to come to. The last words I heard was he told a man that he borrowed the phone that he was trying to get home to his girl. I used to love it when he called me his girl. Because I was. And deep in my heart I knew it. I've been married 4 times. I have been with many men. Not one man have I put my life on hold for 5 years, waiting for them to grow up and come home to me. Not one of those men. Not my children's fathers. Not the so-called love of my life. That's just this life. Rick is my twin flame. Too many lifetimes we came down together, and I don't even know if he's going to come here or not, but I've spent a lot of time crying and trying to realize if he doesn't, what I'm going to do. I know, folks, I'm not suicidal, so don't even go there. I might say it a lot, but I'm not. I never harm myself. Others do it really well and live for me. But anyway, I figured y'all might want to hear the rest of the story about Carla and Rick. Carla is still sitting here waiting for Rick. I never take my ring off. Now this ring actually Jeremy gave it to me, my son. It was a screw up. It's supposed to be love never fails, but it's love never falls on my ring. I'm a weeble. I don't fall down. But it is my commitment. And I committed to this man 10, 10, 10. The night I got arrested for my $4.95 check, it spent 34 days in jail. I committed to Rick that I believe in him. He's the only one I know that I trust, besides my mother. He's the only one, if he tells me something, I know. And he knows if I say it too, that I mean it. I just wished you had taken this time to write me and not been so afraid, Rick, so we could have got to know each other. I love you. Peace out, peoples. Many blessings. Massive orgasms. Wish I could get some.